What's up, everyone? Tara Roberts here with Fantasy Pros, bringing you my top 10 waiver wire ads for Week 14. But before we get started, if you want a chance to win a signed Jerry Jeudy NFL football courtesy of our friends at Pristine Auction, you need to subscribe to the Fantasy Pros YouTube channel right now. Comment below on this video, and that's it. Make sure to turn on notifications to know when new videos drop and to find out if you've won. Now let's go ahead and dive right in. Number 10, Mac Collins. If you are Davante Adams' teammate, good luck being fantasy relevant. Then add Josh Jacobs into the mix, and I genuinely don't understand how anyone else can succeed in the Vegas offense. But somehow, some way, Mac Collins has managed to make himself a low-end flex option on a weekly basis. Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow will be back from IR soon, but Collins has been consistent throughout the year, even with Waller and Renfrow active. Collins has been the clear wide receiver 2, and the lowest snap count Collins has seen was in week 1 at 88%. The upcoming matchups for Vegas are tough defensively, but a tough defensive matchup could mean more focus on Davante Adams and more opportunities for Collins. Collins is a solid bench asset. Number 9, Nico Collins. This week was not the breakout performance I was hoping for. Instead, we got yet again another just over 10 fantasy point performance from Nico Collins. I wish nothing more for Nico Collins than just the tiniest bit of consistency from the quarterback position. Collins is averaging 9 targets per game over the past 4 games. And he has been a model of consistency with a solid floor. He's just been incredibly limited in upside. But I will persist my recommendation of Nico Collins because after a tough matchup with Dallas, the Texans get Kansas City, Tennessee, and Jacksonville in the fantasy playoffs, all pass-friendly matchups. Collins is a low-end flex option for the remainder of the season after the Dallas matchup. Number 8, DJ Dallas. You could have won a ton of money if you made a bet with me on this. I would have never thought I'd be recommending DJ Dallas, but that is how far we have fallen literally within the course of one game. Dallas is on the back of my list because there are a lot of variables and it's not just Kenneth Walker. It's possible that Travis Homer could return next week, so I wouldn't invest heavily in Dallas this week. But if you're in a deep league or have the roster space to make a move on a Seattle running back, Dallas is the better option. Dallas had 10 carries for 37 yards. Tony Jones Jr. had 7 carries for 14 yards and 2 receptions for 18 yards. If Walker is unable to suit up next week, I would expect Dallas to be the more productive back. Number 7, Tyler Huntley. It's rare that I say go grab a backup quarterback, but this is a very special situation. Streaming quarterbacks are going to be in demand next week with 6 teams on a bye week. On top of that, multiple quarterbacks suffered injuries on Sunday, so the position will be at a premium this week. Tyler Huntley's Week 13 performance wasn't anything special. Huntley completed 27 of 32 passes for 187 yards and 1 interception, plus 41 yards on the ground and 1 touchdown. But this is a tough defensive matchup against Denver. Next week's matchup is against Pittsburgh, which is a little bit more pass-friendly, and Huntley's rushing upside gives him a solid floor worthy of being a top streaming option. In the games he played with Lamar Jackson out in 2021, Huntley had a minimum of 40 rushing yards in each game. He fits perfectly into their game plan and should have a solid floor. Number 6, DJ Chark. I completely understand why people would be concerned with rostering DJ Chark. One of those big concerns is Jameson Williams. A talented rookie is a valid concern. But the problem here and why I haven't been on the grab Jameson Williams train is that this is a rookie who has spent the entire start to his career rehabbing from a major injury. It's going to take some time for him to get up to NFL speed and work his way into this offense. Williams can have playoff value as the season goes on, but right now, if you're trying to make the playoffs, Chark is the guy that can actually help you get there. The Lions play Minnesota next week, and the Vikings have been very vulnerable against the pass. So vulnerable that Mike White threw a whopping 369 yards with a monster game from Garrett Wilson and a solid performance from Corey Davis. Chark is worth a roster. Number 5, Corey Davis. Not to tip my hat, but I have 2 New York Jets on my waiver wire list this week. Crazy, but true. And the first is Corey Davis. Garrett Wilson is an absolute monster, and there is no receiver that can challenge him on that team. But do not forget about Corey Davis. Davis might not have the upside of Garrett Wilson, but he is capable of offering a solid floor, and as long as Mike White is starting, there will be enough pass volume for Davis to be relevant. Davis caught 5 of his 8 targets for 85 yards, and should continue to operate as the Jets' wide receiver 2 as long as he's healthy. Davis had multiple double-digit fantasy point performances prior to his injury and is a solid bench asset for your fantasy playoffs. Number 4, James Cook. This is not a reactionary James Cook is taking over the backfield situation. James Cook is a great waiver wire add this week because we want to stack our teams with high upside handcuffs as we head into the fantasy playoffs, and James Cook is officially one of those guys. Despite the addition of Nyheim Hines, Cook has maintained a stronghold as the backup running back in the Buffalo offense, and I don't think he's going to let it go. In Week 13, Cook had 14 carries for 64 yards and 6 receptions for 41 yards, and his snap count was almost identical to Devin Singletary. Now, don't let this fool you into thinking that Cook is an RB1, because this is only the 3rd time Cook has had double-digit carries, and Singletary is a solid back. But Cook could have flex appeal moving forward, and is a fantastic option if Devin Singletary were to go down. Number 3, Jared Goff. This is a huge rarity for me, 2 quarterbacks on my waiver wire list, but again, there are 6 teams on a bye in Week 14, plus injuries to Jimmy Garoppolo, Lamar Jackson, and potentially Tua Tagovailoa. Add to that how disappointing the quarterback position has been this year, and suddenly guys like Daniel Jones, Mike White, and Jared Goff are hot commodities. Jared Goff is just 50% rostered in Yahoo leagues, so he makes the cut for my list. But it's Goff's matchup that makes him the priority add this week. Goff plays Minnesota, and the Vikings defense just continues to get lit up over and over and over again by opposing quarterbacks. Mike White nearly threw 400 yards against them this week. Week 14 should be an excellent game for the Lions as a whole, and Jared Goff should lead the way. Number 2, Cam Akers. I will be 100% honest. I say this with so much reluctance, but if you are in need of a running back, add Cam Akers. I've been team drop Cam Akers 100%. I am not going to lie about that, and I do not want to yield, but I feel like I would be doing you a disservice if I didn't. Akers' Week 13 usage was baffling. After just 8 carries for 37 yards on just a 30% snap count in Week 12, Akers doubled his carries in production on the ground and added 2 rushing touchdowns. This is a wild turnaround after not seeing a touchdown since Week 3. But the upcoming matchups over the next 2 weeks are very running back friendly against Las Vegas and Green Bay. I can see the Rams keeping those games relatively close, and that would benefit Cam Akers. Given the matchup and the possibility that he can maintain the lead in the backfield, you can add Cam Akers. Number 1, Zonovan Knight. Zonovan Knight dominated the work on the ground for the Jets this week. Knight had 15 carries for 90 yards and caught all 5 of his targets for 28 yards. Volume on the ground for this team as a whole was limited because Mike White threw 57 pass attempts. But even if that trend continues, Knight has shown himself to be a solid receiver, and he should benefit from the Mike White dump-offs. It's very possible that Michael Carter misses Week 14 because Carter didn't practice at all last week. The Jets face Buffalo next week, which is typically a tough matchup on the ground, but with his pass-catching upside, I still think Knight can be a low-end RB2 even in a difficult matchup. If he's on your waivers, you need to claim him immediately. Thanks for watching this video, and remember, If you want a chance to win a signed Jerry Jeudy NFL football courtesy of our friends at Pristine Auction, you need to subscribe to the Fantasy Pros YouTube channel right now. Comment below on this video and that's it. Make sure to turn on notifications to know when new videos drop and to find out if you've won.
Thanks for tuning in to the Fantasy Pros YouTube channel. Don't forget to check out our featured videos. And while you're at it, make sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at FantasyPros, so you can get the latest news and updates to give you the edge you need in your fantasy league.